Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this book we're going to look at this time is from Eclipse Comics, 1987. The Eclipse Comics Summer Special #1, Contractors. And this is written and drawn by Ken Macklin. And for a time, they're in the 80s. The Funny Animal Comics, which now is just referred to as furries, I guess, had a big boom, had a big resurgence in popularity, especially ones with some kind of attitude to them. That was both in mainstream comics as well as alternative and underground. The latter day underground stuff. And Eclipse Comics was an independent comic company, American independent comic publisher, operating from 1977 to 94. And in 1978, it published the first graphic novel intended for the newly created comic book store market. And it was one of the first to offer royalties and creators' rights. So that was a big impact. Because then other publishers followed suit. And Ken Macklin, I don't have a whole lot to say about this. And trying to research Ken Macklin, the creator here, and I can't find much on him, really. It's largely due to other people with the same name in more prominent positions in the last few years. He was born in 1954 as an American comic book writer and artist. He worked for some time at Marvel, and he did stuff for Fantagraphics. Here's Eclipse, as well as Eclipse here. He did stuff like titles of Hot Shots and Critters. And Critters was just a funny animal comic, but not your traditional stuff like Pogo and the like. And of course, he's best known for his work on furries. He worked as an animator. This was in the 90s, but where he worked on something called I can't read my own writing. Bob something, The Maniac Mansion in 87, and Claus Encounters of the Furred Kind in 93. But I'm not sure if those were animated movies or games. It's not clear because it mentioned something about video games there. So, and I don't know if he's still working in the field or not. But because of his work in animation, he had a brief description had an IMDb page. It has some really nice work here. You got a fully painted cover illustration. And I am not sure offhand whether Contractors was a one-shot or it was an ongoing series. But I really like the artwork in here. So we'll take a little look inside the pages here. Okay, and you can see it's airbrushed gray tones. So it really gives it a three-dimensional look. And here at the beginning of this story, you see a bunch of guys who want at this shopping complex. This is science fiction. It's got a lot of shoot 'em up and blow 'em up stuff in it. So as well as furry funnies, furry animals, you've got all kinds of weird aliens. So here, and most of the aliens look like some kind of weird animals. They going through the checkout line at the store says matter dismantler, ray blasters, impact shells, all kinds of weapons being bought here, and they're getting it on credit. This is charged to Lord Zarkon's account, and so it gives a description of Lord Zarkon. They boil it down to he's a big time criminal and a pirate lord. Go, yep, that's the one. Oh, his credit is excellent. And then we go to the banks. The whole thing is involved in the banks because it's the bank's interests that this pirate mostly makes his fortune off of, makes his money off of stuff that they are insured or shipping or backing or what have you. So they have big losses due to this Lord Zarkon, and he's also bad at paying stuff off, paying his credit. So he's his credit has been going down. So we're going to have here. This is the board they're talking about. He's the leader of a horde of horde of pirates. For pity's sake, why can't the lazy blighter just steal the supplies? So they said, "Oh, we're going to have to hire contractors," without really clearly defining what it is. Basically, repo men. And we cut to the Contractors. Who's this rabbit? His name is Buck. And they are repossessing a piece of equipment from somebody else very violently. And they're being blasted at from these other people who they hop on their spaceship and they take off while they're being in pursuit. Okay, Max and Buck. And Max is some kind of cat, and Buck is a rabbit. Then we see the Lord Zarkon, because this was something being repossessed from Lord Zarkon. He is in control of a huge swath of space. Now, what I'm mostly interested in here is the artwork, because it's a slightly funny story. It's an interesting concept, and it's then there are contractors. Oh, and they also have this is for the pirates attacking this place. This ship that's supposed to be hauling currency of some kind from one place to another, and the pirates are attacking. And this is for the bank. This is all actually intended to be some kind of setup for the pirates. And the inept pirates, they're the pilot of the ship escapes. They go after the pilot and the ship is set on automatic to go boom somewhere. So they grab the pilot, and Lord Zarkon is very unhappy about the situation. You can see Zarkon right there on top being unhappy. He has a bunch of his people killed because he's unhappy. The pilot, who's this bird, is thrown in jail. But our contractors here are contracted. Well, actually, it's an open reward for retrieval of the ship, and they're following the tracer from the ship. Well, it turns out that and it leads them, instead of to the ship, to the prison that the pilot is imprisoned in. There's some funny little interplay here. Because they're wanting him to say where the ship is going so they can get the stuff, and because it was preset to go someplace and then zoomed away, and they can't get the information out of the guy. So the contractors show up, and they think they're all kinds of forms, red tape, silly stuff. They get the guy. They come up with a bogus diversion, trying to get into the pirates' territory. Turns out, and they draw fire as expected, which blows up their decoy, and they slide right on in. So they're after repossession authorization to have that ship repossessed, and then they draw fire from all the pirates. Of course, they don't know anything what they're there for, and eventually they get in and get the pilot, and said, well, he swallowed the tracer himself, so that they would come to rescue him instead of going after the ship. Then they go to the ship, and here's past due notice balance, and while they're taking off with that pilot, there's the pirates are notified that everything is being repossessed, and they are out of business while they're still looking for this up. So it just says the end. It's not very, very clear. It is kind of funny, but it's not very clear what is going on. The artwork is excellent and has this stuff on the characters. So it looks like it might be something for maybe work for a video game company or a intended video game. I don't know. There's Fusion. It's also the same guy, Dr. Watchstop. The big thing is the artwork, because the story is iffy. The artwork is outstanding. The way the iffy story is told is done well, both visually and kind of humorous dialogue. It's just that the overall plot was ridiculously thin, if you ask me. But the visual storytelling, the technique with the shading techniques, with the airbrushing and the like, and at this point in time, this would have been done by hand. All this would be done on computer now, depending on the person. But it looks really great. Great sets, great ship designs, great character designs, because most of the humor is in the visuals, just the way everyone looks. There's very little characterization in the main characters, though. Of course, it's a fairly short story. And then that is all I've got for you for this time for Contractors. Funny animals are still funny. And I really like the art on this one. That's the big thing. The story is iffy. It might be worth 50 cents or $1 if you come across them in the bargain bins. Just for the art alone, I think it is worth it. So please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Do you remember the days of the popular Funny Animals? I mean, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out of that Funny Animal phase. It was a combination of mashup of genres, doing the mutant stuff, the Funny Animal stuff, and all the pervasive ninjas from the time, all thrown together, and they made something that some moderately skilled creators came up with a really great idea. And this stuff too, because the artwork here is superior, is excellent, but the idea behind the story is lacking. So tell me what you think about Funny Animal comics, or what you think about this guy's art, or alternative publishers all the way around. Whatever trips your trigger. And remember, folks, comics are art.